Chapter 14, A Friend in Need. George had a point. You need Trey. Solution? A first-class ticket to him in New York that George booked within minutes. It's been a minute since your last trip to Manhattan. But even in the dark, you know it like the back of your hand. It doesn't take long to track down his office, a shiny skyscraper in the heart of Manhattan. But when you arrive... Hey there, I'm here to see Trey or Mr. Tribidex. I'm not sure how you... Sorry, he's not in. Where is he? She looks up at you and up and down, far too haughtily for your liking, before answering. Company lunch party. Well... Give me the address before I get you fired. And if you give me any more flack, I'll have it done before lunchtime. Excuse me, who do you think you're talking to? Talking to me that way? I'm one of Trey's closest friends. Either you get me to him, or you'll answer to us both. There's no need to make threats, I quite understand. It's a closed event. Anyone who's actually supposed to be there already knows where it is. And they're definitely aware it's happening in the first place. I can't just go around handing out invitations. He did mention it to me, actually. He told me something about going public. His company was... You trail off feeling a chill and guilt in your stomach as it hits you all over again. How little attention you put into anything but yourself and your own ambitions. I'm the one who was silly enough to forget. I have to do better, and I will, I swear. But... I'll only have a chance to if you give me the address. I'm begging you. She seems taken aback by the drama of it all, but she gives you a faint smile nonetheless. All right, I suppose the party could see you some spicing up anyway. It's right off Spring Street. She trails off, her eyes roaming over your professional attire. Listen, since you're here for your friend, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. All the investors are young, rich, trust fund babies. If you go to the launch party in clothes like that, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. Old? You stare down at your outfit. Sure, it doesn't got any bells and whistles, but I didn't bring anything else. Oh, that's no problem. I could always call out enough more appropriate pieces delivered if you'd like. We've got a sax on speed dial. Wow, that is speed dial. Arm candy. Always nice to dress up for parties. Wonderful. Why don't you go ahead and I'll wait in Trey's office and I'll have the pieces sent in. You show yourself in, admiring the awards on his shelves. Before long, an assistant arrives, wheeling in the rack, and your eyes widen. Take your pick. I wish they'd allow us to, but nope. You're still gaping at the clothes when she leaves. Hoodies, crop tops, sweatpants. They're not the most unprofessional things you've ever seen. Well, if this is what it takes to be a bi-coastal baddie, I guess I'm down for the cause. You slip into a barely there couture or ruby-colored mini dress with a bustier top and that hugs your figure admirably. You can't help but smile at how good you look. This'll do nicely. The party is being held in a chic, dimly lit ballroom full of swanky young people, just as Trey's assistant promised. At the center of his guests stands Trey giving a grand toast. As you all know, Niall has been such a labor of love, and I can't wait to see how it grow and thrive. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for being here. He raises his glass. To Niall. You cheer, clap along with everyone else, smiling at the sight of him, so excited. Aside from all of your grand plans, a part of you is simply happy you didn't miss the moment. But then his eyes land on you, and it's obvious he doesn't feel the same way. Enjoy the party, everyone. With a few more hoots and congratulations, the partygoers begin to mingle, and Trey makes a beeline to you, his face a mask of iciness. Trey, hi. Been a minute, hasn't it? And what exactly is it that you're doing here? Me? I decided to surprise you. I heard about the party. I figured you would love if I... You figured wrong. You give him your best, most wounded look. Are you saying you're not happy I'm here? He rolls his eyes impatiently. Don't insult my intelligence. Let's not sit here and pretend like we both don't know why you're actually here. His gaze travels down your uncharacteristic outfit, and he tries to cover up a small smirk. Though I can't deny I appreciate your sartorial efforts, you should dress like this more often. Look, I simply couldn't miss such a big moment for you, and I'm sorry for the way I acted. Is it really so hard to believe? Yes, it is. You're not sorry, Cameron. You're just sorry I'm no longer at your beck and call. What? I can't believe you'd insinuate. I saw the protest on the news. And while I have to admit that sandbagging the protest by making the participants look like rioters was masterful, it also was seriously risky. You only got something to do when you have other options. Which brings us back to the need for other options. Which brings us back to me. Alright, fine. I'll come clean. It's obviously I need you back. But Trey, it's more than that. You're my partner in crime, and in everything else. I haven't forgot everything we share, or what you said to me. We'll always be each other's lives, right? Remember? You gaze at him, letting your eyes fill with emotion. And I know exactly what role I want you to play in mine. Cameron. He holds your gaze, tenderness seeping into it, and for a moment you know he's coming around, but then he shakes his head, turning away. Save it. Enjoy the party, have a drink or two, but I'm not coming back. But Trey... My business is here, not that you would have noticed. For the next 25 days, my focus is on making sure the stabilization goes well. He walks away, joining a nearby conversation with a beaming business smile. You sigh. You can't bear to stand there like an idiot watching him smooth, so you head for the bar. Hey, could I get a whiskey on the rocks? But you trail off as snatches of the conversation happen next to you reach your ears. Genius, Bill. Once we ditch the stock, we drive down the price. Irritated, the bartender shrugs and walks away. You ignore him, turning slightly in your seat. A pair of Nile investors, smarmy-looking guys in suits, sit beside you, their heads bent together. We can count on Nick to make the deal, and once he's hammered it out, we'll be buying Nile Inc. for pennies on the dollar. They cackle like cartoon villains as your jaw drops. Cheers! Oh, no you don't. There's only 25 days before Nile's shares are out of Trey's hands. I've got to help him before it's too late. The investors chuck a couple of bills down on the bar top and start to leave. Trey will never believe me without proof. I've got to follow them. You pay your bill and slide from the bar stool, trailing them into the city streets. Right, was it left here? Seriously, Chris, it's a grid system. How have you not figured out directions yet? Shaking his head, Bill takes the lead. They head right, coats turning up against the wind, walking so briskly you struggle to keep up. Damn those cowards, excuse me. But just as you clear the crowd, a hot dog stand bursts out of nowhere, and you're about to run straight into it. Swerve. You dodge cleanly around the cart, avoiding it perfectly. Whoa. Sorry, have a good one. You keep pace with the investors, never breaking your stride. I'm not letting you two out of my sight. You watch as they stop at a crosswalk. You stop a few paces behind them. I gotta make sure they don't notice me. You're standing there in a bright red dress. Good luck. Bill turns his head abruptly. So he can hear your thoughts, he gazes at you suspiciously. But you just give him a friendly smile. His expression doesn't change. The light turns green and he walks forward, clearly on his guard. Damn, should have known better. Nobody smiles in New York. Suddenly, Bill grabs Chris by the elbow and makes an abrupt right turn. You lose sight of them. Speed up. You pick up the pace, running after them. I can't let them get away. And when you finally turn the corner, you see them speed walking just ahead. Gotcha, better keep my distance. You follow them much more carefully than before, trying your hardest to look as though you're just another pedestrian. Are they heading into that diner? Watch as they walk into Brown Bear Diner, then wait on the curb for as long as you can stand before ducking in after them. There they are. But who's the third guy? Better get a nearby table. While the hostess has her back turned, you slip into a table next to theirs, lifting the overlarge menu up to shield your face. So, Nick, we were just discussing it, and it's pretty simple. We drive down the price, you swoop in. The third member of the scheme. Oh, sounds easy enough. You think we'll have any trouble from this tray? We shouldn't. He seems to trust us readily enough. I need to get video evidence of it, but if I lift my phone, they'll see that I'm recording immediately. Time to stage a distraction. You could just record the audio. It would just work as well. You look around. Close to their table, the waitress tries to balance an overly full tray, and further away from them, a baby waves his fists, face turning red, about to throw a tantrum. Armful. A thick wad of balled-up tissue held tightly in your hand, you lean back and throw it right at the tray. With an enormous crash, everything hits the ground, broken glass tinkling everywhere. Oh, I'm so sorry. You smile and trumpet. The three investors turn towards the commotion, jumping in their seats, and while they're looking away, you set up your phone perfectly to record them. Cheers. I thought this was a decent place, Bill. It is. I mean, it might have downgraded slightly. Whatever. We're not exactly here for fries. Remember, we have to act before the 25-day period expires. This is our window. Right, so I'll offer him a deal. Not right now, dimwit. It's like I said. You wait until we drive the price by dumping the stock. Once we've done that, he'll be desperate to settle. But then Chris leans in and whispers something, and you can't hear a syllable of it. I need to get closer. How can I scooch my chair nearer to them without them knowing it? It has to be subtle, unnoticeable. I'll pretend to drop my fork, call out to a waitress. You snap your fingers loudly, attracting way too much attention. I didn't know she was going to do that. Excuse me, waitress, I'd like a cold iced tea. You prepare to shift your chair closer, but out of the corner of your eye, you see the investor staring at you. Practically Bill. Damn. Can't move anywhere with all of them looking at me like that. I'll have to wait. And if we get it done before 20 days, we should be on another celebratory lunch with extra booze. Sure, whatever you want. Let's just get it done. Just when you're beginning to feel like you might have them, the waitress pushes a large cart of food in front of your table, blocking your camera. Welcome to Brown Bear. Where we put grrr great. Can I offer you a tableside salad? No, It's on special discount. You sure you don't want to try it? Damn, I need to get rid of her. I'll try some if you make it quick. Then there'll be a tip in it for you. Perfect. This'll just take a moment. But it doesn't take a moment. For several minutes, your waiter tosses salad by your table, trying to put on a tip-worthy performance while you try in vain to crane your neck and your camera around her. Finally, she serves you your salad bows and wheels or trolley away. Bows? Your salad bows. It's not even bowl. I'm not tripping. Perfect. Who knows what I missed? But what about Trey? What about him? I don't think he's going to like this. Well, he won't be able to do a thing about it. Agreed. We'll be over his head so fast he'll never see us coming. We'll see about that. Glance at your phone, switching from camera to audio recording. I've already got their faces on video. I need to make sure we hear their words clearly. I'll move the phone closer, lift the microphone off the table. Me sneezy poo. Move the phone closer. Easy does it. You push your phone near to them, hoping it'll catch more of their words, but it makes an audible noise coasting over the table, causing the trio to pause in conversation while you subtly drop a napkin over him. I really need to brush up on my spy tech if I'm gonna pull things like this. Now the recording will be even weaker. Oh, so we're agreed then? Once you make the deal for the lowest possible amount, you cut each of us a share. How large a share? An equal share. You'd never be able to do this without us driving down the value. You're right. I'm gonna make sure you don't get that far. Nick, Trey's coming. Get out of here, Nick. Nick scurries out the back door as Trey walks in through the front. Hey guys, sorry for the delay. They give him oily smiles while you switch your recorder off. Hopefully you've captured enough. Sup, Trey? Glad we could do this. Oh, definitely. Me too. So, what's the latest? He looks from one to the other, eager and expectant, to share a downcast look. Actually, buddy, we got some bad news on that front. The initial stock holdings after the launch are looking too good. What? Yeah, it's a real shame. Might be best to sell while the price is still respectable, don't you think? Of course, if you like, we can hunt around for some potential buyers. Yeah, it's a bit of a chore, but we'd do it for you, of course. But Trey isn't listening to them anymore. His eyes have landed on you, widening and significantly in surprise. Trey? Yes, sorry, bathroom. He stands, walking towards the back of the diner. As he passes your table, he points towards the bathrooms with his chin. You make a beat, then follow after him. What in the hell are you doing? It's a diner, dude. It's a public place. Shut up. You're getting played, Trey. They're driving down the stock prices so their friend can buy Nile off you for dirt cheap and cut them each a share. He stares at you, disbelieving. Look, I know I'm the last person you want to hear this from right now, but I have proof. You pull out your phone and show him the evidence. You manage to collect a few fuzzy recordings. He rolls his eyes dismissively, unwilling to trust you. Please, Trey, you've got to believe me. I know you're not my biggest fan right now, but you know I'd never lie to you about something like this. I don't even have anything to gain from doing that. And if there's anything I know you believe about me, it's that I wouldn't do something that had nothing in it for me. He stares into your eyes for a beat before he nods slowly, finally coming to terms with the truth. I can't believe this. What the hell, I trusted them. You lean in, immediately embracing him with the kind of warmth you rarely let yourself show. After a moment of shock, he hugs you back. It's gonna be alright, Trey. We're going to get through this. Hey, thanks for being here, Cameron. Maybe I wasn't ready for all this. Don't say that. It's not true. You are more than a match for these three idiots. And you're not alone. When you pull back, you see life return to his eyes, and he smiles the way he used to. Just for you. I know I haven't always been there when you needed me, but I'm here now. We're in this together. Let me act as your war counsel, General. Alright. And what would you suggest my war counsel? What's up, but we strike back and we strike hard. You and Trey return to the table and you take the seat beside him, relishing the shock of Bill and Chris's faces. Wait a minute, who's... You know what? You're right, I wouldn't mind selling. Perfect. So we'll... After I've done my due diligence, of course. What do you, And in the meantime, you can vet Cameron as our potential new buyer. The faces blanch as they realize he's effectively cut out Nick before they've even introduced him. Oh, no, we already have a buyer for the company, actually. Actually, I'm not buying the company, I'm buying your shares. You know, the shares you've been offloading to drive the price down. I'll take the rest of them to ensure stabilization goes the way it's supposed to. You can't! As payment, I won't tell the SEC how many financial laws you've been breaking. You can't! Oh yeah? You saw me following you around. Do you honestly think that was a coincidence? I was collecting evidence, and you better hope it never sees the light of day. Let's hope they don't call my bluff. But it seems you're in the clear. As he stares in your impassive expression, Bill's face goes from white to rather sickly green. Alright, we get it. Just please, let's keep this between us. We'll see, now get out. Like scurrying rats, Bill and Chris rush out of the restaurant through the window. You see them meet up with Nick by the sidewalk, and the three of them hurry away, bickering animately. You let out a chuckle, but Trey isn't smiling. He just lets a deep sigh, slumping forward on the table. I can't believe I almost got stiffed by a couple of dumbass financial bros. I just want this business to work so badly. That you were willing to do anything for it? You smile at him. I can relate, but for now, this company is safe and sound in your capable hands, and that's something worth celebrating. You should let me take you out. Celebrating is the last thing on my mind right now. I should convince him. Yep. Well, that's why you have me here. If you make brilliant suggestions, I can assure you, you won't regret. He smiles at you, and you know you're winning him over. Alright then, my war counsel, you can have me for the evening. Get ready to have the best evening of your life. We never did make it out on a date when we were in college, did we? It was always straight to someone's apartment. You feel your cheeks heat under his gaze as you remember those wild nights. Well, I think that was because we had next-level chemistry. But it was probably because we were 21 and full of hormones. That sounds right. I'm sorry we didn't go out more. I wish we made more time for the grand romance of it all. Young love is special that way. Love, did you say? His tone is playful, but you give him a sad smile. It would have been nice to celebrate my feelings for you, beyond all the mind-blowing. He laughs when his eyes meet yours. There's a tenderness to them that you don't often see. But we're adults now. Surely we can handle one adult date? Absolutely we can. I have faith in us. But shortly after your arrival at one of New York's fanciest date spots, you begin to feel rather stuffy. Jeez, I didn't realize you'd be so far across the table. Or that everyone would be talking in such hushed, snotty voices. When was the last time someone laughed around there? Seeing the twinkle in his eyes, you know you're on the same page. This is far too restricting for someone who used to have so much fun with. Someone you'd really like to have fun with again, in fact. You wave down a nearby waiter. Excuse me, could we get a bottle of your finest champagne, please? My. You're really getting the vibe of this place. Not quite. I saw a stairwell entry on our way in, and a sign that says it leads to the roof. Want to sneak up with me? He replies with a mischievous grin. Let's go. As soon as the waiter brings the champagne, you abscond from the table and head into the stairway with a chilled bottle in hand. When you burst out onto the rooftop, the two of you can't help but break out into laughter in the chilly night air. What a spectacular view. And there's seating. Clearly they meant for us to sneak up here. You glance at the spot he indicates. It's perfect for looking out over the city and unquestionably romantic, illuminated by candles and fairy lights. Drape myself over the couch or pull out a chair for Trey. YOLO. Well, isn't that a bit of unexpected chivalry? You know me, chivalrous to a fault. With a laugh, he takes a seat in the chair you've pulled out, then reaches back to briefly caress your hand you've curved over its back. Well, thank you. Anytime. He draws in a deep breath of cool air, so you settle in next to him, placing the champagne on the table. Together, you look out over the glittering skyscrapers, the wide lit-up streets, and for a moment, everything that isn't the two of you seems to fade away. How do you feel now? Better. Definitely better. Then he sighs again. What is it? You can tell me, you know. No one is going to hear us up here. You pull out a Swiss Army knife and get to work on the champagne bottle, handling it to Trey, who to take a hearty swig once you've popped it open. Honestly, I've always been so afraid of becoming my dad, Cameron. He's, you know what he is. Whatever makes everyone around him as miserable as he is. And some days that fear seems realer than others. Seeing the way you broke down that day, I don't know. I really put everything into perspective for me, you know? About what I do and don't want, whether the cost of things I want is simply too high. I get it. But Trey, you're better than your father. You're kind, wise, and stronger than you know, and he scorns you because he doesn't realize the value of a heart like yours. The world needs people like you. He looks at you hesitantly, wanting to believe you. I known you for ages, Trey. You've got to trust me on this. You'll never be what he is. That's not who you are. You're a better friend, a better leader, and a better person. He smiles, his eyes glazed with slight tears, and then offers you the champagne bottle, which you accept with a grin. You throw back a large gulp of champagne. You feel your insides warm despite the cold evening. It's not my plan either, you know. The way my dad has made me feel. I was horrified at myself for making George feel that way. He presses his shoulder to yours, the feeling of him against you holding you together. I've seen every face of his. I've seen him be a CEO, hotshot, business tycoon. It's taught me that those are attainable goals. I've got the blueprint, but at the same time, being a heartless monster is also a fair possibility. Don't say that. You're not heartless. You've come a long way here to say you're sorry, haven't you? You smile gratefully. Maybe, but still, it proves there are some things I don't have the blueprint for. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be something. I've never seen anyone in my family be stable. Well, that's the kind of path you have to carve out for yourself, Cameron. It makes me miss my mother. She was the only family I've ever known that was normal, loving, caring, warm, and it didn't matter that we were poor or powerless because we had each other. You trail off, the memory threatening to bring tears to your eyes. I'm sorry, I never got the chance to meet her. She must have been a truly incredible woman to raise someone like you. At this, your tears spill over, and as you swipe them away, you lean against him, who puts an arm gently over your shoulders. You're going to find your way. I just know it. The intimacy of the moment nearly takes your breath away. A whole city beneath you, and yet it feels like you're the only two people in the world. I never thought we'd be like this again. Me neither, but I can't honestly say I didn't hope for it. You turn to each other, his face inches from yours, glowing in the dusky evening light. Trey, I'm sorry. Truly, I am. I never meant to hurt anyone, not George, and especially not you. You've never been more heartfelt, and Trey knows it. Gently, he brushes his thumb along your jawline. I know, Cameron. It's all right. You're here now. You were here for me today, and that's all that matters. You lean in, close the distance, pressing your lips gently against his. He pulls you in closer with his arms around your shoulder, and the kiss gives you the kiss he gives you is different from the others. Soft, deep, lingering. I'll be here for you tomorrow, too. And hopefully the day after, and at this rate you certainly will be, because I'm not letting you go. He kisses you again, passionately this time, and you gasp against his lips, refusing to pull back until you're both breathless. You giggle with happiness like a lovesick teenager, and moments later, he's laughing too. I'm so glad we snuck up here. I'm so glad you came to New York. Me too. And not just because I need your counsel, Trey. Yes, you never told me. What for? I know I was awful, and you don't want to work with me anymore, but Sabrina's a bigger force than I ever imagined. I could really use your help. Look, I get it. I feel for you, really, but I can't exactly leave. You saw what happened with the investors, and I was right here. Going back to California leaves Niall in a very vulnerable position. I don't want to mess it up. I'm sure you can handle Sabrina. Except it's not just her, you know? You didn't see the way those people looked at her on the stage. They're all in, especially the illegitimate kids she discovered. But as you reach the end of your sentence, his eyes line up in a way that you'd recognize well. I see an idea. I have an idea face. What is it? Well, something about that brought back this old memory of my dad and Vitality. I don't know the whole story, but I know someone who does. Well, then let's meet him. Maybe they know something that could help us counter Sabrina's influence. Trey gives you a reluctant stare. Well, alright, but after this I'm done, okay? Agreed. He whips out his phone, typing out a rapid text to schedule the meet. Luckily, Trey's contact replies so quickly, you're able to get to their location within minutes. But as you walk into the hotel bar, you notice it's almost empty, except for an elderly woman hunched over at the bar top. Wait, she's the contact? Yep, name's Lily. And she's kind of an old school manners, so don't make the face when we introduce ourselves. You both walk over with smiles. She returns them as you sit down beside her. Why, hello. Nice to meet you, Cameron. What can I do for you both? It's lovely to meet you, ma'am. Trey here says you have quite a shrewd memory, and we have some questions regarding Vitality. The smile slips off Lily's face, and suddenly she looks her age. Well, I know far too much about it. I was there when it all began, after all. You were? Of course. I was Theodore's first fiancée, Cameron, before Eliza or Elena or whatever that jumped-up husky is called. Oh my god. Perhaps you've already heard the story. I called off the engagement. I found him cheating on me with my best friend. Now keep your face neutral. She doesn't need to know just yet that you have in fact heard it before. I'm so sorry. That must have been awful. It certainly was. We were young, of course, as couples go, and I thought we were truly in love. I trusted him with my life, and his sudden betrayal, it destroyed me. It simply tore the heart out of me. Even though I was certain he was going to be a success, I was even more certain that I had to leave him. He was never going to get better, only worse. The money would never be worth that awful feeling in the pit of my stomach. I was smart. You were right. He's only gotten worse. All he does now is make everyone around him miserable. Lily gives a dry chuckle. What can I say, dearie? That didn't take much foresight. So, he was rotten from the start, I suppose. I should have guessed. I chose to patch up my relationship with my best friend instead. She had a good heart, more than I can say about Theodore. I helped her raise the son she'd given me. I've met him. He seems... He gives you a small, hopeful smile, and what you really are going to say dissolves on your tongue. Wonderful. We did our best to raise him, but it was difficult. So often we could barely come up with his lunch money. Theodore was sympathetic, of course. But when my best friend fell ill, when she lay suffering in the hospital, there was no help to be had from him. He was more interested in messing around than in tending to the ailing mother of his child. She takes a little breath to calm herself before continuing. James and Theodore had quite a falling out back then, because James came up with the idea to give the mothers of each of his extramarital children company stock. Something about this nags at you, but you can't quite put your finger on it. My dad came up with that? He never told me. As Trey trails off, you realize where the incongruence is. Hang on a minute, you say they had a big fight over this. But I don't think I can ever remember a time when James and my father weren't friends. Can you, Trey? Trey shakes his head, but Lily just nods at you mysteriously. There's a lot you spring chickens don't know about your fathers, I could tell you, but you might never see them the same way again. Have you met her father? Seriously? You want us to tell you some stories, ma'am? I think it's time we heard it all. I'm ready to hear whatever you're ready to tell me. Trey nods in agreement. Lily gives a little chuckle, apparently impressed by your pluck, and her gaze glazes over, lost in the past. When Vitality was young, business was booming. Naturally. Yes, I suppose that part is obvious, but don't misunderstand. It wasn't an institution around the world the way it is now. It was frail.
Frail, what do you mean?
It was just starting out, Trey. Like a fawn taking its first steps. It couldn't risk too many knocks to its reputation before it all came crumbling down. And in those days, a baby out of wedlock would have been deeply shameful, a huge scandal. And so, of course, your father couldn't recognize him or pay much of anything without the stench of impropriety. How ridiculous. Clearly, society was the problem. My dad was foolish. If he knew about having a baby out of wedlock would cause such a scandal, why did he do it? You're assuming he thought through the impact of his actions before he acted. Precisely. I can assure you he didn't. So, he was happy to doom innocent babies to miserable lives just to get his rocks off? Lily gives you a silent, affirming stare. That was why James came up with the idea to gift shares of the company. Trey gives a hesitant but proud smile. That seems like a decent enough idea. At least he was trying to provide for him. He was, indeed. And yes, it did seem like a decent idea. The children would be provided for and the company would be fine. Her face darkens. But James underestimated Theodore by a long shot. Why? What did he do? When Vitality received new investors, the founders needed to dilute their shares in order to split them up further, hand them out, which meant each person would have to give up a certain amount of money, their power within the company, their ownership. In short, all things that Theodore was not willing to let go of. So, as James discovered too late, only his own shares were diluted. Theodore and the other founders retained all they had started with, but James' shares were diluted so heavily that he was stripped of nearly everything he had. That's so messed up. My father's supposed to be his best friend. How did James stay friends with him? James was at my dad's homecoming party, for crying out loud, giving toast to his dad like he was the greatest person in the world. How could he stand there being around him anymore, let alone calling him his best friend? I don't think he can, actually. My dad's always been oddly bitter, and I thought that was just who he was, but this explains it. Lily nods empathically. Some wounds aren't worn on the surface, Cameron. They hit deep, they fester deep, and I assure you it hasn't been forgotten. So, did James ever recover the shares he lost? Lily shakes her head slowly. No, never. Theodore never restored them, while James still has the title of founder, and does enough work for the company to secure a salary. It's nowhere near the amount he's due. Trey sits back in his chair, shell-shocked. My God, a word we never hear of anymore. Remember, Cameron, when you asked me where all my dad's money went? A sudden inexplicable sense of guilt swarms through your stomach. At least now you know the whole of it. Your father screwed over his own best friend rather than take care of his children. You stare into her angry face and Trey's astonished one. Well, Trey, on his behalf, I'm so sorry. I know I can't make up for any of it, but I want to apologize for my father because clearly he never will. Trey gives you a sheepish smile. Thanks, but you don't have to apologize, Cameron. This has nothing to do with you. Yes, it's very noble of you, but I doubt James will appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for your time, Lily. We really appreciate it. Yes, thank you. She gives a little sniff and stands to leave, sweeping out of the bar with a final wave over her shoulder. You learn about your father cheated James out of his Vitality shares. After tossing some bills down on the bar top, Trey stands up too. Where are you going? Back to the office. I've got a business to run, remember? Clearly sharks about. I didn't even do anything, but okay. You stand too, grabbing his wrist. Trey, stop. You take a deep breath, stare into his eyes. It's time to lay it all on the table. I can't do this without you, Trey. I need you to come back, please. He sighs, but you refuse to take your gaze off of him.
Just give me some time to think, okay?
He gives you one final nod before turning away and walking out of the bar. You stare after him until he turns a corner and vanishes from your sight. I guess I did all I could for now. Gathering up your things, you leave for your red-eye flight without him, unsure of where you stand. But hoping like hell Trey will choose to help you fight another day. Alright, first and foremost, thank you all for watching. Please remember that if you did enjoy, to like, share, and subscribe. But of course, aside from that, let me know your thoughts down below. We all know that Theodore is the biggest piece of crap in this whole entire story. Right above Elizabeth and Dante. Because they actually killed a person, and then all they thought about was money and greed and all that. Yeah, just think of it like that. So, like, they're like next to a pile of poop. So, if you remember that fish story of, what was it, Shark Tales, right? Where, you know, they're breaking it down where Will Smith, his fish stands, right? It's underneath whale poop. It's a good movie. Anyway, without further ado, let me know your thoughts. But I guess I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.